Alright, what is up guys? Losomaniac here, and today welcome to another episode of Fallout 4 Strategies. But this episode is a bit different because usually with my other videos I go over Fallout 4 strategies. This one as a whole can amount to all of the Fallout games except 1 and 2, I think. I don't know. I haven't played Fallout 1 and 2. And today we are going over hacking because hacking is one of the main things in the game. Well, if you go to your achievements or trophies list, and you look at Robco's worst nightmare, it is hack 50 terminals. Now, here's the problem with this. Hacking appears less than lockpicking. To put it into perspective, I reached I reached 50 lock. I picked 50 locks, and within that, I have hacked 10 terminals. To put it into perspective, now there aren't that many in the game, but it's still worth talking about nonetheless. Because and trust me when and believe me when I say hacking in this game can be very, very confusing, but it's actually pretty simple once you know how this stuff works. So first things first, we have to understand how hacking is done. Hacking is done by selecting certain words. They give you lists of likeness to the actual word or similarities to the actual word, and then that way once you select the correct word, you have successfully hacked into it. But there is a certain problem, which is that in Fallout 4 and 76, I think, once you run out of attempts, you have to wait a bit before you can do it again because you're locked out. In Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3, after those attempts are done, you cannot access that terminal again without certain perks to do so. Now, in Fallout 4, you could also use Nick Valentine, although it is not 100% guarantee that he would unlock it, but he does unlock you out of that terminal in case you do want to give it a try. Although, what's the point of having Nick Valentine try and hack the computer if you can do it yourself, even though he likes you hacking terminals. So the problem with hacking is that there's more to it than just picking words. You have to pick out similarities to the word that you pick to the actual word itself, and it's actually pretty easy. And the bigger the amount of, and the harder the terminal, the bigger the words, which can come off as pretty difficult. So, but with my help, I will help you guys make sure it is easy. And in fact, it is so easy to describe, I'm not even going to use the actual game, which is good because, one, I don't know how to do it, and two, if I show you guys an example as to how it works, I could accidentally risk unlocking the actual terminal. So yeah, so I have here a random word generator. Now, for some reason, these random word generators don't ask how many letters you want in a word. So for this purpose and to make it easier, I'm going to use 4 words or 4-letter words. All right, so we are going to generate 10 because that's what it says. Generate random words. All right, so we have 2 words here. We have whip and dent. So I'm going to pick dent because it's closer to my favorite number. So let's say for this purpose, dent, D-E-N-T. Hold on, let me write it down. So you'll have to excuse my horrible handwriting. So this is the word we are trying to find, dent. Dent is the word we are trying to find. And if we successfully do that, we unlock the terminal. So first you will go through certain words to find here, such as, let's do dries. Dries. So as you can see, we now have a word of dries. If dries is on there and you click it, it will show a likeness of 1. And the likeness shows how many of the correct words are in this password that we need. In this case, dent. And as you can see, we have a D in there, so that there would be a likeness of 1 in there. Okay? So now, for a likeness of 2, it would be words like Dean. Like from Supernatural. Now, you may notice here that N is in here also. But since dent is our word, it would only show a likeness of 2. Because while N is in there, it is in the wrong place. As you can see here, Dean, although that looks like a B or a D. It's backwards on my screen, but it won't be in the video. So as you can see, because in my videos it shows I'm left-handed, I'm right-handed. This is supposed to be on the left side. It's going to show up on the right. So yeah, so for this purpose, since the N is not where the A is, this would be considered a likeness of 2. And so let's just try being. Actually, that has a likeness of 1. Never mind. Now, I do want to clarify one thing. The 4-letter words would always be 4-letter words, so you don't have to worry about if it's a 4-letter word. Then you won't have to risk finding a 16-letter word and then get the likeness of 4. Now you have to figure out which one it is. So yeah. Now if none of these letters show up in the order, like if there's no D in the first place, E in the second, N in the third, and T in the fourth, for any of them you would get a likeness of 0. Which it's good to get a likeness of 0 because then you can calculate which words are not going to be it based off the whether it's the position of letters or in different orders. So like in this case, if dent wasn't our word, if dent was not our word, then whip would work also. You also have a chance for it to be whip because, or no, not in this case because, yeah, that's WHIP. Yeah, that works. Whip also works, could also be the opportunity to it to be a word because none of the letters appear in whip. None of the letters in dent appear in whip. So that could also work. Now, that's pretty straightforward, but there's also a minor thing to go off of there. Is that there are specific symbols. There are brackets. So again, you have to excuse my handwriting. There are parentheses, and then there are those like little squiggly bracket things. You have to forgive my horrible drawing of them, but yeah. So you may notice that there are these things also. Brackets, parentheses, and whatever the fuck these are. I don't know what they're called. What these do is if one of them opens and then is followed by a closed one of the same one, like you can't have an open bracket and a closed parentheses, that won't work. But if you do have a open bracket and a closed bracket within them with stuff in the middle, it doesn't have to be stuff in the middle, but it could also work with stuff in the middle. As long as it's not a word, it has a chance of removing the fake word that isn't the password, or it resets tries, or it refreshes tries. So that way, if you ever run low on attempts, you could use those, and then that way you can either try again or remove the word. If you're not certain as to which word it is. Now, the dumb part about this is it also removes the word that you already used if it doesn't work already. So that's almost like a big fuck you to the people who do this. So yeah. So yeah, if you use these are the 3 ones that I think show up. Oh, no, not all of that. You also have these. These are not 7s. These are those like greater than, lesser than things. I don't know what they're called. Those also work too. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. But one thing to make sure is that as long as there are no words in between these, you should be fine. So keep in mind of. So let's let's refresh ourselves. So if dent is our word, if the first letter you pick, or if the first word you pick is dries, it would show a likeness of 1 because D is in the right place, right? However, if you use words like dean, it would show a likeness of 2 instead of 3 because while the N is in the word dent, it is in the wrong place. It'd be best, and if you find a likeness of 0, do not worry because it helps. Because if dent is not our word and you select dent and it's a likeness of 0, then if whips shows up, that could also work also because of the fact that there is no likeness between dent and whips. Or whip, because whips is 5. And if you see any of these symbols opening with stuff, with or without stuff in the middle, and then the closed one at the end, use that to help you out. Now, what I advise doing... Now, there are a few things, since this is Fallout 4 strategies, I'm going to go over some stuff that adds to Fallout 4, and then I'm just going to go to the general broad area. So, Fallout 4. If you max out your affinity with Nick, you do get an additional attempt. So that way, instead of 4 attempts like you usually get, you would end up getting 5. However, the science bobblehead in the Malden Middle School, which I think is Vault 75, the science bobblehead there does add an extra attempt. But if you already max affinity with Nick Valentine and then get that bobblehead, you still have 5. Why? I'm not sure. But as Bethesda says, it just works. So yeah. And then now for the broad area for hacking, for not just limited to Fallout 4 and 76, but also including Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3, keep an eye on your attempts. Because if you do have one more attempt in New Vegas and 3, you can close off of the terminal, open it back up. It will take a while before you can start the hacking game again, but once you do, you still have those attempts back. Granted, there are new words. So that way, like, if dent shows up and it's the password, but you don't guess dent by on the third try, dent will no longer be the password, but it will also not show up there. So do keep that in mind as you go through. But with Fallout 4, you can try as many attempts as you want, but you will be locked out for a certain amount of time. Nick's max affinity perk, which is close to metal, also decreases the time that you are locked out. So do keep that in mind. But I do find it unnecessary that you would need to be locked out, considering the fact that after the third one, you can just go back and hack it. So yeah, and again, this thing works with bigger words. Just do keep in mind it is a bit harder because there are a lot more words to go off of. So if you use ing words, that one may be a bit harder because maybe there's like 3 there with ing, and you may not know if ing is even the last part. So yeah, just do keep that in mind. So basically, this is just a matter of picking out what it is, and like I said, the reason why hacking is so easy, I just have a tough time describing things. So yeah, that's pretty much it. There isn't much else I can think of. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is one I was surprised I didn't do sooner, because hacking was a big problem that I wish I had knew about, and that someone had made a video on. Most of the time, like, hacking, the big problem with hacking in games is just that, especially in this, is that you can't really make a video talking about it because you run the risk of knowing or accidentally unlocking the terminal when in a video. So yeah. So yeah, hopefully this helps. If it did, thank God. If not, I completely understand, because I am terrible at understanding things or explaining things. But it's pretty easy to pick out. Now it won't be obvious straight away because obviously you don't know the word is. I do because I picked the word. So yeah, if you guys found this video helpful at all, or if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, leave a comment down below. I don't know if there's a certain topic you guys want me to talk about. I doubt I'll be able to. I doubt I'll be able to talk about that because I barely get comments on these videos, so I don't really know what to talk about. So I just figure out what I want to talk about. Maybe next I'll do the different attack magazines, such as like Grognak the Barbarian, Guns and Bullets, Tesla, and Tesla magazines, or whatever. Tesla weapons, magazines, whatever. So yeah, and if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more content. I will definitely be uploading more of these Fallout 4 strategies. So if you guys do want to be notified as to when I upload more Fallout 4 strategies, also hit that bell notification. Also, if you do want to be notified as to when I make more of these, because I am enjoying these as someone who recently went back and played Fallout 4 for the first time since I got Cyberpunk. Which it was very difficult to do. I was still used to like Cyberpunk controls, so yeah, this is gonna be loud. It's not that loud. So yeah, and hopefully you guys. So yeah, hopefully you guys did find this video helpful. If not, the Fallout Wiki describes it easier. I could show you guys how to play Caravan. Caravan is also a pretty easy but really confusing game to play. But that also means I'll have to find a way to record myself with the game of Caravan, so I'll figure something out. Anyways, plus I don't have a deck of cards anywhere. Anyways, Losomaniac out.